what's up? Check this out.
The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Well, it's Friday, folks. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Deadline Live, Jack Blood, your radio gun, AmericanFreedomRadio.com and affiliates, DeadlineLive.info. Thank you for joining us. A lot of updates on DeadlineLive.info today. We'll be reporting throughout the program on the money bomb, the come and take it money bomb for Deborah Medina, which is just really doing well. Thank you so much. We've got a little ways to go. Go over there, fill up that cannon. We will have a cannon you can fill up, and once the cannon's full, they're going to be clapping, rubbing their hands together, and thinking about how they can go after Rick Bilderberg Perry and Kay Bailout Hutchinson. Today is also the anniversary of the TARP bailout. I wonder if Kay Bailout and her friends are all celebrating and having martinis together somewhere today. Also in the news, we'll get to this at some point during the program, the Chicago police state has been headed off. They have lost the Olympics in a humiliating bid by Oprah Winfrey and Barry Obama. They have to come home with their tails between their legs. The homeless are celebrating in Chicago. They won't be shipped out to a camp in Montana somewhere. The weather modification companies are kicking their dogs. They've lost contracts. We'll get to that. Shoes thrown at the IMF president in Turkey. We'll get to that today as well. And I'm sorry to report, Elaine Brown was sentenced today, 35 years. A lot to talk about. The Irish are also voting on the Lisbon Treaty today. A big turnout, much bigger than they expected. The rural areas are really getting out, and that is important, extremely important. The fix might be in, though. There will be no third referendum, folks. So this is it. If they can vote no on this, they're out, and they retain their sovereignty and their independence from the European Union. Joining us on the program is a good friend of mine and a good friend of Liberty. His name is John Stokes. He's a radio talk show host for the last couple of years, working with the station he owned, a standalone station. In fact, the oldest in the country in Kalispell, Montana, 5,000 water, KGEZ, 600 The Edge AM. Many of you remember the days when we were on that station. Well, now no one's on the station. The station was seized here earlier this week after lengthy legal battles and a full-on community effort to shut the station down. They just didn't want to hear any voice other than the one on the mainstream media, other than the one that they've been allowed to hear. So very important the work that John is doing, and I'm glad to have him on our program. John Stokes joins us. John, thank you for being on the show today.
What a friend you are, Jack. Good to hear from you.
Hey, always good to hear from you, John. You guys did such a great job out there. Your listeners were so passionate. You had me out speaking on the phone or by phone to a big conference you had out there with all kinds of great speakers. Your audience was there to protest against the mandatory vaccines.
Yes, that went real well. It was 4 days of nothing but solid information and great speakers and great patriots, and it was an awesome thing that we accomplished.
And the community just didn't like that, I guess, huh?
No, there's just a handful of people that write that nonsense about us. The Edge family is tremendously large, and we did so many great things for the community. And, there's just an agenda, and they just want my property and force us into bankruptcy for protection. And then for whatever reason, the trustee, we went into bankruptcy for protection.
Yeah.
And
you
then
guys you were being sued for defamation of character for something I guess you reported on the air about one of the people there in the community. That's how I heard it, John. And you had to protect yourself by going into Chapter 11. Then they slammed you into Chapter 7, and the next thing you know, you're surrounded.
Yep. Pretty much that quick. Yeah, and they got a $4 million default judgment against my empty corporations, and we were in our process to appeal that to the Supreme Court, and then the sheriff tried to seize our station, so we immediately sought protection, and then it went from worse to worse.
Did you have a chance to smash the FEMA box before they came in?
No, they came in, and I only had like about 45 seconds to go on air and tell folks what was going on, and then I was escorted out of the building.
You know, I've lost several stations myself in the past, so I feel your pain. I do. But, John, we're right where we're supposed to be. Any chance you guys are going to get KGEZ back, or you're going to be able to win this war out there, or what is going on? What's the status now, KGEZ?
Well, Well, the court entered the order September 21st. And of course, I never saw it. They never served it upon me. And they seized the station on the 24th. And the appeal period, before the order even became binding, is not until October 1st. Well, we made numerous motions for reconsideration, to amend, to reverse, to alter. And even the state of Montana weighed in and basically appealing the judge's decision.
So it's hanging in the balance. There's still an opportunity here to get your property back?
Yeah, if you know any good lawyers that could help us, we'd sure appreciate it, because, the list is out for us here that don't touch us. So it's going to have to be some good federal bankruptcy lawyer or constitutional lawyer that can at least assist us anyway.
All right, John, and you guys, your website is still up, right? You can give
Website's still up, and we're starting to stream every morning. We're streaming all the time now because we moved the servers. And my show is, we're putting it back together piece by piece, and I'm on from 10 to 12:30.
Did you lose just the station, or did you lose your house, or what?
No,
exactly
just happened? All my personal property was listed, of course, so they're going to strip me to the bones there. And then the station, of course, and the license, and but we also filed with the FCC an objection to transfer and control. So they're not moving as fast as they want, but we are dark.
Yeah, the way I understand it, there has to be a certain amount of paperwork and procedure before a station can change hands. So though they can tear it down or make it go dark, that's the language they use for it being quiet. They can't just bring someone else in and start operating it without a certain amount of paperwork that has to be fulfilled.
That's correct. It's Form 310, 314, and 316 of the FCC Communications Act. And I notified them, what was going on, that there's an unlawful transfer and control going on that next day. And so they're aware of it. They knew it was coming, but the trustee also hired local D.C. attorneys, and they were in the FCC building on Thursday trying to effect the transfer.
Yeah.
But I talked to the FCC to staff attorneys, and even yesterday, sent off by overnight to Secretary Marlene Dortch, who is the secretary of the FCC. Her and her staff lawyers now will review this and see if it's in the best community interest. And, to see if you transfer this thing, let's say we do win on appeal. And somebody's already got the station, they've changed the format or sold it off. And then I win and say, okay, now what, guys? So it's not.
Yeah, you got Randy Weaver up there in your listening audience from Ruby Ridge, all your great listeners. There's just there are not going to be any alternatives for them to listen on terrestrial radio. Obviously, they can listen to shows like this on the internet and that kind of thing, but that's a real loss for Montana. And does it seem like a coincidence, or they come and they seize you, and then what was it, a day or so later that the American police force rolls into Hardin, Montana?
Yeah, that's correct. And, we were making a big difference of it. We're a very strong family. We're not fluorided up, but we're paying attention to the world events, the economy. We're on top of things up here. And fortunately or unfortunately, with the unemployment situation the way it is, your and I audience will be getting a lot larger because people will be staying home and, using the Internet.
I'd rather people listen later and have their jobs, to be quite honest with you. Maybe all of us can start working in the alternative media. I guess the other alternative to that is we'll all be working for the government as bureaucrats, censoring newspapers and doing the job of 1984 here. What is your take on this whole Hardin, Montana thing? We've been covering that. I interviewed the American Police Force spokesperson here a couple of days ago. She was not very forthcoming, and I caught her in a couple of lies. I think she's really in the dark herself about the company she works for. More revelations are coming out, including today. The Montana Attorney General will be investigating them. It looks like they're in a lot of trouble, and they're about to be chased out of town.